Okay, so in this Majjhima Nikaya Anapanasati Sutta, if we take it first and foremost, what we are trying to do is through Maharahulavada Sutta, we are trying to learn how to do Anapanasati. This is
Okay.
straightforward, he's coming into it. So the background we are yet to work out. That means the background here is, one second. The background here is that we need to work out on the five aggregates, like what we are doing now. What is Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Viññanā, and then we need to work out on this is not mine, this does not belong to me, or I don't have an ego relating to that, and this cannot be called as myself. Okay, so first we need to practice that. Having practiced that thoroughly, then he talks about which we are starting tomorrow. So tomorrow what we are starting with what Rahula was taught by the Buddha. So now he is going to give about Rupa. He is going to say what is Rupa, how you should see it, and all that. Then he is going to say what is Ajjatta, what is Bahidda. So that we have to drop off. Before we come to this MN118. What is this MN118 that what we are talking about, the Anapanasati Sutta, is the condensation or a summary of Anapanasati. So he says, a person who has worked out on Anapanasati definitely gets liberation, or he will at least get into Anagami, or he will become a Sakadagami, or minimum he is a Sotapan. Right. So that is what he is saying. So now we need to understand, because if you go down into this, one is Kaya, then he is talking about Vedana, then he is talking about the Chitta, then Dhamma. So he is talking about all the four in this Anapanasati. So we need to really understand through the Maharahulavada Sutta. Without that, touching this is going to be a theory, but you can't practice, because you will, now you are only watching the breath, but then it's not alone watching the breath which is going to help. Even though it is related to breath. That is, breath is a neutral object. So it is right to take the breath for meditation, because then you are not, what is that? You are not going on the this extremes. One extreme of liking it, another extreme of rejecting it or disliking it. So we are cutting those two, but we need to understand that that's not the approach. That was your first question. Now let us come to your second question. Hold on a second. When I generally do Vipassana, I get a lot of sensation on my head area. Okay, now here is the thing about Vipassana. That is Goenka Vipassana. We are doing it. Now, after you watch the breath and you come into the section of Vipassana, that is, you have established a good observation in the nostril. Then either you can take the feet or you can take the head. Then you start scanning. So when you start with the body scanning, what happens here is that whatever we are calling sensation is an energy movement. So most of the time you will have heaviness in the head, or you will find some tingling sensation in the head, or you will find some ants are moving around and you want to scratch or do something about it. That is normal, because the energy starts to move. So wherever you focus, that is, when you focus on what is happening here, you will also have an attention. But that attention, if we don't really see it, the awareness will not get developed. So if you become aware of the sensation coming on your head, you can see the energy movement happening from here to here to here to like that to the leg. then your body pain, if at all was there, will go away. So that's the advantage of doing Vipassana of Goenka. That means after some time, there is no body. First, there is numbness, heat, and throbbing sensation, and the energy starts to move everywhere. In that way, your pain is gone. So you'll not, you'll disassociate with the pain. So there's no pain. So the kaika vedana or bodily feeling will become neutral. So you will not have a sensation of heaviness or becoming numb, pulsation, etc., etc. That's the thing. What happens when we do this vipassana? So generally, head area has a lot of energy, because if you really see, the whole processing is done in the brain. So it is quite but natural that since the neurons are there in the brain, you should be able to experience much profound things than just looking at the body. So when you scan and come to the scalp or to the head, you'll have more intense feeling than when you are watching the area of the leg. So that is how you do the body scanning. So if you look at your body scanning, then you will know that the head region has lot of heaviness or something is moving. So you feel some movement, something is happening on the head. That's right. So that was your second question. So that sensation has to come.
Even actually, when I don't know, like whether that experience was was correct or it was a delusion, because actually I found something my like moving inside the head. I I still remember that.
Yeah, it happens. There will be movement in the head. In fact, you see light also in that
Ah,
whole
yes,
thing.
yes,
In that whole thing, you'll see light. So the gland, the pineal gland, get lit up, meaning you will feel somebody has put like a tube light or something like that. That is
yes,
also
yes.
experienced. But you are not supposed to be concentrating on that. You need to look at it and again come to the face and then to the chest, like that. Keep on scanning, scanning. So when the next time you come, there is no light or that heaviness or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So your sensation keeps on moving, and that is what the impermanence is all about. So in the Ubakin way of explaining, you can see the impermanence nature or anicca. So that is how Goenka explains anicca. That you can't get that sensation back. That sensation is gone. It's replaced by some other sensation. Now you want that sensation, and then some other sensation comes, and that sensation you want to keep. Now some other sensation comes. So now you don't know which sensation you're talking about. So you were feeling the throbbing sensation. After some time, it is cold sensation. Then you wanted a cold sensation. Then you find it's a heat sensation. Then either you wanted to heat sensation. Then you have something happening in the body. So some shaking is happening. After that, that shaking is gone, replaced by numbness. Now that numbness is gone and something else has come in its place. So it keeps on arising and it keeps on appearing and also disappearing. So the appearance and disappearance is part of this whole. So that is what is the Udaya Vyaya Jnana also. So you will get that
Mhm.
Udaya Vyaya Jnana through looking at this body scanning. Okay. Any questions related to that? Further questions?
Yeah, and one more thing actually. Uh, Whenever I do vipassana, like I generally do only anapanasati. That is only restricted to the watching, observing of breath. But whenever I do vipassana, at that time actually I more focus on the breath, and all the focus is on the basically on the sensations. And some I have noticed that Vipassana, I think, doesn't it never helps in relaxation. It makes you more what we say uh, unstable. I think no, not unstable. That is not a proper word.
Anxious.
More anxious type of like not cool or relaxed, but something like something related to like क्या बोलते हैं उसको चंचल मतलब और ज्यादा ये हो जाता है मतलब एनर्जेटिक टाइप.
Yeah, your mind starts to move if that doesn't work. Meaning, there are two things. One, either the samatha has not happened properly. Okay. And when you do vipassana, what happens, especially with this ubakin technique, there is one problem with that technique is that if you have not established the stillness, okay, so if there was an Anna, okay, so yeah, Anna, you want to say something?
Oh, Thiruvan Saranai, I just got the message now.
Okay, okay, we're just talking something different, so you can just listen. So it would be an interesting experience for you. Okay. So now when we are talking about the vipassana of Goenka. Yesterday we three were talking, you, me, and Karu. So it will be a good experience for you to understand the other dimension also. Okay. So yeah, Anna, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. So thing is, one thing about vipassana of Goenka or Pakyan is that you need to have a good hold on tranquility, which is samatha. That means you should, in the 4 days retreat, you should have had a very good experience of the breath everywhere. If by chance I don't have that experience and I start into the vipassana, which is done from the 5th day to the 9th day, a 10-day retreat, then what happens? The mind becomes completely unstable. So you will start getting something which you don't know what all is coming. So it makes things much worse than good. And then the assistant teachers who are going to help us should know what should be done. And the problem is that they will say that you just observe the sensation, whatever is coming. So now it's like you press the sensation. That means you don't give any concern to the sensation, which in some people doesn't help because that needs to be addressed. So that is where some problem will happen. That means due to the samatha not being there. So first and foremost is that we need to have the samatha. Before that, we need to have the sila. So the sila getting established, then the samatha can be established. So that means avikhipa, which means avikshepa, which is undistractedness in English. Or rather, vikshepa is trembling. It literally trembles. Okay? When there is trembling, you can't see what is real and what is unreal. So Vipassana is all about seeing the real and dropping the unreal. So since the mind is not ready to see the real or unreal, it becomes a real mess. Unless the teacher who is there in the retreat is able to understand your problem and say what next to be done. But that not being there, you will get stuck because that's the only meditation technique. So now let's say the breath is not working. Now what next can I use? There's nothing else. So if I go to the assistant teacher and ask him that, look, this breath method is not working for me. I'm trying hard and hard to watch the breath. Like Anna has that same problem. So let's say you keep on watching and can't establish. Now, if you can't establish, that means that's it. Nothing else can be done, which is not true. Yes, breath is required, but then there are other approaches which can give you the same thing, or rather better thing. So this is quite a thing that either on the 5th day or the 6th day or on the 7th day, mind becomes totally distracted, restless, agitated. All that will happen. So you will not get what you went there for in that retreat. So either you have to blame yourself that it did not work for you, or you have to do something about it. That's one drawback of these retreats. When we go to a formal meditation retreat, that's a problem, because the teachers who are there are not as proficient as the original people who were there. Let us say if Ubakin was sitting there, he would have been able to help us because he knows by each person. But since it is a taped version, that is, they play the audio tape of Goenka, and you have no idea what to do now. So you just listen to that and you say, whatever is there is there. Now you just keep on observing, don't waste our time. So then you have gone there, now you can't do anything, you just sit. Oh my goodness, I don't have any answer now. What should I do? So the mind goes in that flux, that why am I not getting, and in the, you are not supposed to talk to your next person to ask him what is he feeling. You have to only talk to your assistant teacher. So on the 10th day or after the retreat, if somebody shares their information that I got this, I got that, I saw light, I saw this, I saw that, the mind will say that why I am not seeing, why he is seeing, why I am not seeing. Now that goes in another flux. So another retreat in expectation that I'm going to see light. But again, it doesn't happen. Or this time it happens, next time it doesn't happen. So then that's the basic issue. And that's a problem with retreats. Okay. Any other? You are on mute. Mute. You are muted.
The third question, can Buddhist philosophy, which is basically of Nagarjuna or Atisha or Yogajana philosophy, like this kind of philosophies, they they do they help in understanding the Dhamma in a profound way?
See, the Mulamadhyamakarika, you have put that. It's very, I really liked it, what you have put there, because it's very nice. And I mean, somebody is really interested in Mulamadhyamakarika of Nagarjuna. So, after Buddha and the advent of so many years and the starting of this, what we can say, common era, or after Christ, Nagarjuna is one person who is too good, at least from a very academic perspective and philosophical perspective. In fact, much of the learning what Shankaracharya got is from Nagarjuna. It won't be wrong to say that, because he didn't know two kind of truths. First truth is Paramarthika. In Pali it is Paramatha, and in Sanskrit it is Paramarthika. Okay, so the Samuchi Satya and Paramatha Satya. Samuchi Satya is the normal way of living. So there are two truths. Buddha said there are two truths, not one truth. The two truths. One is Paramarthika, means ultimate. There's no other thing. So there are four in number. One is Rupa, one is Citta, Chetasika, Nibbana. Whereas the conceptualization to what we think we are and what is my name and what do I do and this body and this room, etc., is the Samuchi Satya. And Sanskrit is Samuhika Satya. Conventionally agreed. If somebody says, do you know wife? The answer would be yes. Unless somebody is gone mad. Meaning he's put in a mental asylum and then he doesn't know what is a wife. Otherwise, he knows. If somebody is married, it's called as husband and a wife. That much he is aware. If he is in a school and somebody asks him as a child, "Are you going to the school?" He says yes. He knows there is a concept called as school. This is called as Samuhika Satya, or Samuchi Satya, or Samuchi Satya, or two truths. It's not one single truth. So now when Shankaracharya started his journey, he met a lot of Buddhists, or at that time Mahayanists, who were talking about Shunyatavada. So the Mulamadhyamakarika is all about Shunyatavada. Sarvam Shunyam Idam. Everything is Shunya. There's nothing, no essence. Anyway, coming back to this. So coming back to this problem, what we are trying to address is that if there were to be truth, Shankaracharya, what he did is he said, Vyavaharika Satya. Vyavaharika means transactional. And Paramarthika Satya is ultimate truth. So again, two truths. So the basis of Nagarjuna is to say, starting with Patitya Samutpada by them was Sanskritized and it was called as Pratitya Samutpada. Okay. Pratyaya in Sanskrit means condition, or rather it is saying that a condition dependent on a cause which ultimately becomes a condition for an effect. So a condition has a cause and that condition has an effect. So conditions, causes create conditioned effects. So what happened is that during the time of Nagarjuna found that the so-called Sarasvatavada, Sarvastavada people, Sarva Astivada, that means everything exists, which created an eternalism, that is eternal. Right? So the question now comes, consciousness is real, but it is conditioned, whereas the Sarva Astivada, called as Sarvastivada, that Vada means one who proposes that doctrine or debate, or they say that this is my doctrine, this is my belief, or this is my faith, or whatever we can take it. Sarva Astivada means everything exists. So which tallied with what Shankaracharya used to say, Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya. That means Brahman is always real and everything else is Mithya, it's unreal. The Sarvastivada is a statement saying that Asti. So there were two things even before Buddha and during Buddha and after Buddha. One is Asti Nasti. There is one Vachagota Sutta where Buddha says, I don't know why world goes in this delusion. If somebody was to really see, if somebody says that Sarva Asta, they will find that it perishes, it goes away. If somebody of the view that no Nasti, Na Asti, Nasti, it means it arises. So you can see arising, you see departure, you see Udayangama, Atthangama. How can one say that a sunrise will always remain in the same position, in the same state all the time, and the sunset remains? Sarva Astivada means that it exists. Nastikavada is it doesn't exist. Asti Nasti. So after Buddha, the Sarva Astivada, who were really followers of or were called as Buddhist, Nagarjuna wanted to tell them that, look, you have lost your ground. You are talking like a Vedantin, basically, who feels that it exists. So Sat Chitta Ananda is Sat is truth. Chit is the light. Ananda is bliss. So citta is from the root word chit, which means to shine. Pabhasaram idam chittam. What it means is that it is lighting, but it is a reflection of the original. The original is the bimba, which means the light from which it has come, and the reflection is pratibimba. So this concept was taken by furthermore people who came like Madhvacharya, then Ramanujacharya, like that, and then created their own philosophies. One made it Vishishta Advaita, that means that you need to understand Advaita in a different way, so that became Vishishta Advaita for Ramanuja. And then the last was Madhvacharya, who came and said that it is dual. Brahman Satya, Jagat is also Satya. It again came back to the opinion of two truths, which is right actually. That means there is Samuhika Satya and Paramarthika Satya. So this is the basis of Nagarjuna, to tell those people who were Buddhist, who had got into the Sarva Astavada, to say that Sarva Asta with Pratitya Samutpada. Asti with the Pratitya Samutpada. So it does not necessarily means that consciousness exists irrespective of condition. Consciousness also is condition oriented. If the condition matches, then there is there. The condition is not there, it doesn't. So there are 27 chapters in Mulamadhyamakarika. I don't know what you want to know more about this, so I can tell you exactly what you are looking at. You're on mute.
Basically, I am like more keen to learn about that, about the whole philosophy, what Nagarjuna
Wow.
is trying to say.
You know what is going to happen?
But actually, time actually is constrained. Time never allows. So that is the issue.
No, it's not about time. If you experience something real, like if you come to a stage, this Mula Madhyamika Karika becomes very easy to understand. There won't be any controversies in your mind. Even if you study Vedanta, let's say, as a change, you will not feel anything about it. Like, how people will get upset or something. Like if I talk Buddha Dhamma to a Vedantin, that person will feel, no, this, that, all that will come. And if I were to talk Vedanta to a Buddhist, he will start with his opinions. Like if I were to talk about Goenka to a perfect Theravadin, either in Sri Lanka or wherever it is, then that person will feel really odd. And if I were to talk the Desanas to the Burmese, and they will say, no. Only through Vipassana you can do this. So each person has their views, which might be true, might not be true, but that is what it is. Right? So now if we were to experience, meaning if we know where we are using the suttas, and let's say we reach a stage of Sakadagami, or we reach a stage of an Anagami, this Mula Madhyamika Karika becomes so easy to understand that you will not have any problem to understand it. So my opinion is, my recommendation is, knowing is one thing. See, I can tell you everything about Mula Madhyamika Karika, but can we do it? Because it will conflict with your basic learning, what you are doing on the suttas. I'm not saying it is completely flaw. I'm not talking about whether it is a flaw or it's not right, Mahayana is not right, and the concept of Bodhisattva and all that is there. So now that is a separate topic altogether. But if you come to the Mula Madhyamika Karika as a subject, or as a subject, and I want to experience Mula Madhyamaka Karika, then it takes a lot of effort for that person to experience, even though he talks the same thing. Like the first chapter talks about causation, law of causality. In fact, the Dhamma follows exactly what is there in Nagarjuna teaching, with the rituals part of it, because that it makes sense. Because something you require as a tantra, as a what I can say, there are three things in life. Okay, the jnana, the wisdom, what you get, requires three factors, three things basically. One is the yantra. Yantra is the vehicle. So let's say Theravada is a yantra, Mahayana is a yantra, Vajrayana is a yantra. Like that, you can have yantra. Yantra means a vehicle which will take you. It will take where you want to go. Basically, it's a vehicle. So now, for the yantra to work, I require a mantra. I require something as a password which will open up. Basically, if I were to go by Theravada, it goes by Pali Canon. That is the complete Tripitaka reference from Abhidhamma to the Vinaya and the Sutta. This is what the Theravada is all about. Mahayana approaches it with a different set. It is a different way of looking at it. Completely different. Okay, it doesn't mean that they don't go by this, but they don't need for this. You can drive the vehicle. The yantra can be driven by some other password, right? Because that's their vehicle. Now for the mantra and the yantra, you require the tantra, which is the method. In Theravada also you require the yantra, tantra, mantra. So the yantra is the entire understanding of the sutta is the yantra, the vehicle. The mantra is understanding the depth of Pali, with which you can drive that vehicle, right? Otherwise you cannot understand sutta. But what is the tantra method? What's the method you want to use? Do you want to use breath? Do you want to use the dhatu? Do you want to use the particular manasikara? Do you want to use the charnel ground meditation? Do you want to use kasina? Do you want to use the what I can say, the dhatus, which we already covered with consciousness? Do you want to use ahara? Do you want to use 5 aggregates? So there's so many things you can use as a yantra. So when it comes to Mahayana, especially Nagarjuna, his yantra is philosophy. It's pure philosophy. Through the philosophical foundation, you change your attitude towards life. Just like what the Advaita is all about, and the non-duality is all about, is through Jnana Marga. If you were to ask what is the practice, it's by Shravana, which is to learn. Manana is to keep on bringing it up. How this works, how this works, how this works. Nididhyasana is to experience. Nidhi is the treasure. Dhyasana is to unearth. So unearthing the treasure which is inside you. Basically to know who you are. And that is what Advaita is all about. It doesn't talk any practices, any what we can say, any steps or anything that can guide you. It's an open thing. You just go, take what you want and you construct yourself. That means there is no vehicle for you. You have to create your own vehicle. So in the yantra, tantra, mantra, the mantra you have to find. The yantra they will give you the vehicle, how to assemble the vehicle. Tantra, the method is yours. So the vehicle and the password or whatever that is required to operate is yours. They will only give you the raw material. Take the raw material and go. Sir, I don't understand this. That's what Vedanta is all about. So I might become a best Vedantin, but I have no single experience of it. So the Nagarjuna philosophy is something like that. He talks the same thing, absolutely the same thing, but in a more refined, and this is for people whose intellect is very sharp. They can cut through the cut through the darkness and they can get it. Whereas the Theravada, what we are following, you get this sutta, that you leave it, and next sutta, somewhere it will come. Unless I am a Dumbo and I don't know what to do because I am a Padaparama, I am not a Neya, unfortunate. Okay, now you learn through Desana, keep on talking to the Theros or to the Sayadaw or to the Ajan or to this or to that, talk to, listen to the videos or to the lectures or whatever it is. Once in a while it might open up, or the next life definitely it will open up. This is how this whole thing is made. So if you say, I want to learn Mulamadhyamakarika, my question to you is, how far have you experienced the Buddha Dhamma?
That would be a tricky question, sir.
It is tricky, but without that, going to this is like committing suicide. Okay, why? I'll tell you. Getting this itself is difficult. Getting Nagarjuna way is even more difficult because one, you require to have a very good knowledge of Sanskrit. It's not Pali any longer. It's complete Sanskrit. And you should know grammar. And you should know the Vyakarana. That is a Sandhi and all that, and that you should know. Then how the words are formed. I mean, what's basically the idea behind this? Because it's so compact that when you open it up, it opens up like a sutra. In fact, most of the time, Anna uses the word sutra. It is not sutra, it is sutta. Because in Pali it is sutta, in Sanskrit it is sutra, and it is totally different. So when I say sutta, it is su atta. Atta is myself, su is good, which can give me good things about knowing what should be known is sutta. But when I say sutra, what it really means is that it is jumbled up. Meaning, there's one strand, I will give it to you. If you should know how to untwist it now. That means the whole thing is in one sutra. I'll give you an example, analogy. So let's say you have Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Have you heard about that? Okay. Now, yoga, citta vritti nirodha. That's it, over. The entire 4 sections, that is Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, Kaivalya Pada, all the 4 of them and 51 shlokas of the Samadhi Pada is in one sutra. Atha Yoga Anushasanam, over. After that, sir, speak to me. No, I have spoken. What? Atha Yoga Anushasanam. No, sir, I didn't understand. Okay, it means yoga citta vritti nirodha. Now, sir, I did not understand. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Okay, did you understand? No, sir, can you elaborate? Vrittayah panchattaya klishta aklishta. Vritti, what vritti? What did I say earlier? Yoga citta vritti nirodha. If there is no vritti, movement, tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Vrittayah panchataya klishta aklishta. Pramana viparya vikalpa nidra smritayah. I can go all 51 now. Now, what that person understood, I don't care. Right? So, if I were to teach Patanjali Yoga Sutra to someone, what should I teach? I should say, I'll give you a sutra, understand. Which one? Yoga, citta vritti nirodha. Practice, over. That's all. Now you open it up. That sutra is intertwined like this, ball. You remove one thread, the whole thing will open up and it opens up completely now. And that is the meaning of the word sutra. So when we talk in Sanskrit, it is sutra. It no longer sutta. Okay. So now this is the difference between the Pali words and the Sanskrit words. It gives you two different meanings. Su-atta has got nothing to do with sutra. In the same way, anitya has got nothing to do with anitya. Even though it may mean the same or looks the same or however it is can be done. But they are not the same. Anatta has got nothing to do with anatman. If we were to translate word by word by word by word into Sanskrit, it gets thoroughly distorted and also it will become totally confusing. So what Nagarjuna did is to rewrite it in Sanskrit in a proper way. So he made it into a 27 chapter things. And each one is a sutra. If you understand the first one, Pratitya Samutpada, then you understand the Gati. If you understand Gati, then you understand Indriya. He is going to throw stones after stone. First stone, Pratitya Samutpada. Did you understand? No, sir. Okay, start. Now he reads, does whatever he wants, questions, debates, whatever. Okay, then he comes and says, sir, I've understood. Very good. Now I'll give you motion, Gati. You understand Gati? Yes, sir, I understood. Oh, very good. Now you go and understand Indriya. And he goes. Then he comes to Panchaskandha. But what are we started with? In the Theravada, we started with Panchaskandha or Panchakhandha. Now you see the difference. Here is 3 steps to get into the Panchakhandha or Panchaskandha in Sanskrit. Okay, now if somebody is following the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, he gets into the Dhatu or Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. The 5th one here is Dhatu. So what a difference. To get to the Dhatu, you should have known the causation, Pratitya Samutpada. Then you should have understood the Gati. Having understood the Gati, you should come into the Indriya. Having understood the Indriya, then you can come to Panchaskandha. Having understood the Panchaskandha, now you are ready to understand Dhatu. Now, Kamatmaka, desire and desirous. What is the desire? That is Chanda Mulaka Avuso Sabbe Dhamma is coming to that. In the Mulaka. What is the Mula of that? Then he comes to the Samskara. In Pali it is Sankhara and in Sanskrit it is Samskara. Okay? So that is preparation. Then Karma. Actions. Then he comes to the Chatur Satya. So the 4 noble truth. So to come to the 4 noble truth, it takes 9 steps or 8 steps completion. Okay. And then what he does? He talks about dukkha. Then he comes to the samskara dharmata and asamskara dharmata. That is unprepared and prepared or prepared and unprepared. Basically. Understand that everything in life we do is samskara. So sabba sankhara samatho, that he does it in 11th and 12th chapter. Then the 13th chapter talks about nirvana or nibbana in Pali. Then the 14th chapter is atma vivechana. Vivechana means to inquire. Atma vivechana is who is atma, what is atma, or in like what Ramana Maharshi did, who am I? That is what is the examination of self. Atma vichara or Atma vivechana. Then swabhava. What is the quality? Okay, what is the bhava? What we are going to have. Then bandhana moksha. Then karma vipaka. So it goes on like that. And then Pudgala Dhatu, then Kala, then like that it goes. So I can read out all of 27. But the first sutra is Pratitya Sama Utpada. If you understand that, you will understand the last one. Beautiful chapter in Nagarjuna. The essence of Nagarjuna's teaching is in Drishti Vinishchaya, investigation of views, which is the first one in Buddha teaching. What?
Samadhi.
No. Brahmajala Sutta. All the views, 62 views. This is what it is. So I don't know what you want to learn from me on Nagarjuna. You are the first person to ask me to talk about Nagarjuna. In this entire 5 years of doing this, I got one person who wants something on Nagarjuna. Everybody hates Nagarjuna for what reason, I don't know. Everybody in the sense that the Mahayanists will love it, but I don't have any group, any person in my group who are from
It's very complicated, no? Its theories are.
It's not complicated. It is very structured, very apt, but it doesn't have any kind of what I can say steps you have to find. It is like Vedanta.
And it's nothing to practice, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. There's no, you have to find a practice on your own.
On my own.
Because you should have understood the Buddha Dhamma completely, and it is, see, the thing is like this, we are not in the Buddha era. Even though we are putting Buddha era, something like, this Gregorian calendar year now is 2023. And Buddha era, we might put 2500 and whatever it is. Then if you take Shalivana Shaka, which is the Hindu calendar, then you will put some number to it. We are not talking about that. So now we need to take Nagarjuna's view, because it is a bridge between what Buddha said and what was changed, and how Nagarjuna brought it back from what it was. Because Sarvastivada was in popular, so it became two theory. One is a Shunyata, one is a Sarvastivada. Now which one is right? Everything doesn't exist and everything exists. There's nothing which is existing, there's everything existing. There's been the problem from the beginning. Citta bhava, anyatha bhava is not something which was there only at the time of Buddha. It was there in all the Buddhas, even during Buddha and after Buddha. Because when I see my life and when I see everybody's life, there is someone who is residing. Let's give it a agreement to that. There is someone who is residing in all of us, which can be called as God, can be called as something, but it is true. It is samuchi satya, but it is true. It is true. So, Paramartha Satya or Paramatha Satya in Pali and Paramartha Satya in Sanskrit, what it means? It means that you need to have experience of Rupa completely. You need to have experience of Chitta. You need to have experience of Chetasika. That is difficult. Going to Chetasika level is the most difficult. Abhidhamma talks about lot about Chetasika, but then you really experiencing Chetasika, really have such a purity of Chitta to understand how 7 universal Chetasika arises with the Chitta and falls down at once. That's difficult. Now what do we do? Because then you can see the Paramarthika of Nibbana. That means there is conditioned and unconditioned. Both are there. They coexist. That's what it is. It's not that one leads to another. They are separated out. As long as the viññanā catches itself, like what we've been speaking, you can't get Nibbana. Because the Chitta has that already. Now what to do? So, Nagarjuna explains how to get out of it. So, if we were to see that from the contemporary Buddha, and after passing away of the Buddha, and 500 years after Buddha, and 750 years after Buddha, once the whatever we call as AD, somewhere around 7th century or 8th century, when Adi Shankaracharya also was there, Nagarjuna being a contemporary during that time, was able to explain, or I don't know how they both met, that is a mystery. But if I were to read his Atma Bodha, Atma Tattva and all that, it's very clear on how he would have understood the two truths. And he made it as Vyavaharika Satya and Paramarthika Satya. So if I were to read Viveka Chudamani of Shankaracharya, I can find how he has nicely put it. It's very apt and very right. But it suffers from the same problem of what Nagarjuna is. There is no practice. It's a philosophy. You need to find a practice for yourself. But it's good. I appreciate at least one person who is saying that I need to know about Nagarjuna.
Actually, when I was actually kind of exploring the Buddha Dhamma, like when I got into touch in 2011 or 12. So at that time, my first book was Buddha Mind, Buddha Body by Thich Nhat Hanh.
Okay, Thich
So
Nhat Hanh, okay.
in that actually, what was explained, it found like I was very much amazed by that. So after that, actually, I continued somehow to read books, then Old Path, White Clouds of the same author, and I tried it, like I tried searching on internet. So I could get this PDF copies of this Mulamadhyamakarika. So even I tried to read it, the second chapter, actually you told Gati. So he gave an analogy of an arrow.
Hmm.
So he told, like I can't remember. He told, like he explained in the chapter, like the arrow when shot from the bow is already on the target and there is no motion in it. So I really found it very something confusing also and something brilliant also at the same time. So that was my dilemma. After that, actually, I could not. I like actually I could not practice in any way. Like and even I can't read any books on the on Buddhism because actually my job due to job commitments and all that.
Okay, good. So you understand the arrow example.
No, I didn't understand actually.
Okay.
That was that was a brilliant thing. I don't know, like I have not understood it, but that was actually confusing for me and even brilliant for me both at the same time.
Okay. Sachin had unmuted. Maybe he knows about that arrow.
No, the arrow I was about to tell. Buddha's one sutta is there. When there is an arrow in your heart, you will not ask who has sent it and what is the metal which is made of, what is the theory. Without knowing that, I will not allow you to remove the arrow.
Okay.
Right? So your priority should be to remove the arrow rather than learning from which direction it has come, what is the metal of the arrow, who has sent the arrow, why he has sent the arrow, and all that theory.
Correct. No, that is a different. That is from the sutta. But Nagarjuna's example is on gati. That means if you have already shot an arrow, there is no way you can return it back.
Yeah, that is different then.
This is different. What you are
I don't know. I don't know.
So what happens is a person is shot by an arrow. It's a poison arrow. And instead of removing the arrow, he starts asking this question: who has hit and what kind of poison? Whether it has come from the east, or it came from the west, or it came from the north, it came from the south. Was it made out of this kind of metal or that kind of metal? Was it with a rod, or was it with a what we can say made out of a bamboo, or was it by a warrior, or was it by some other class of person, and all that? That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to remove
You are right.
Yeah, you're dying. In the same way, there is no point in investigating 100 different things about the world, how it came, why it came, who created it, didn't he have any job in creating, having created, why is he not taking care of me? If he's taking care of me, why am I still suffering and all that? You need to understand that life is full of suffering. Dukkha satya. Because when there is Vedana, you are going to have a suffering. So, if you remove Vedana from your life, that means the contact is removed. That means the phassa is removed. If the phassa is removed, you are in Nibbana. So, Rupa, Chitta, Chetasika creates that illusion of a feeling. So, when you remove that feeling, then you are in Nibbana.
And in Upanishad also, Svetaketu story is there. Na? He has to unlearn what he has learned for 12 years. He took 12 years to unlearn it. He
Correct.
forgot Sanskrit. He forgot speaking. And then his guru told him Tattvamasi. Only then it worked.
Yes. Right. So, the basis of what he is talking is the Gati. It's a deep subject in Buddha Dhamma, but not profoundly known, especially the Theravada circle. They talk about Gati, but not to an extent what Mulamadhyamakarika talks about it.
Yeah, I know about Gati is this that which leads you to next birth, right?
It leads to everything, not only next birth.
Okay, it leads Karaka for everything.
Yes, Karana, reason for everything. So, Karya Karana. Karya is the work and Karana is the cause. So that it creates this double bondage. You cannot stay without Karya and the Karana cannot never be removed. So the Karya Karana becomes a jumbling thing. So the Paticca Samutpada is about removing this Karya Karana. If you remove the Karya alone, the Karana will not go. And the Karana alone, Karya will not go. It's not about karma. It's Karya Karana. Karya Karana adding together becomes karma. There's an intention, Chetana. So when he says Chetana aham bhikkave kammam vadami, what he's trying to say is that the Karya and Karana is already there. You know that you need to do this because the Gati is already there. So it makes you to do something which you don't want to do it or you want to do it. So there is a habit pattern. So Gati is nothing but the habit. We have created habits, so stronger habits. And those stronger habits in, if you take Vedanta, is Vasana. Right? So when we say, when in the Vedanta it's called Vasana, it's nothing but the samskara or the sankhara with Gati. So you shot the arrow. Now you realize, oh shit, I shouldn't have hit it. No, but nothing can be done. You can't say, hey, arrow, come, by mistake I have done it, come. Nothing. It will go and hit it. Maybe the right target and the wrong target, it doesn't matter. You already sankalpa, you already created the determination, I need to do this. So when I am doing a kama, sensual, there is a gati associated with it. So what Nagarjuna did, he went step by step of the entire Buddha Dhamma. He condensed it into 27 beautiful chapters, starting with Pratissamutpada. Then he brought in Gati. So if you work out on Gati, many things can be done. Meaning many things which could have been done can be undone because you are not going to keep on shooting arrows. Stop. You will throw that arrows. Like that. So what do you want? I'm done, I think so. Unless you have something to discuss on this.
So now, like regarding this, I haven't ventured in this territory. So if you give me a lead, then I can work on it.
You lead on what?
like how to grasp this Mulamadhyamakarika, how to start with it. I don't know, like whether it will be possible for me to grasp on this or get what is exactly it.
First
But
thing,
how, like, yeah,
first thing, you need to verify you reach Sotapanna or not for yourself. Otherwise, Mulamadhyamakarika will going to put you in such a pin. It becomes difficult. Meaning you will not understand this nor you will understand that. You will get into a somewhat unknown land. Not that Mulamadhyamakarika is bad. There are a lot of books on internet which will give you the explanation, interpretation. Like in Pali interpretation, you also have commentary on Mulamadhyamakarika. In fact, Dalai Lama has translated, or Dalai Lama office has translated a lot of this. So you will get that also. But that's not an issue. The issue here is you need to know for yourself that you are Sotapanna. Then you will be able to penetrate into what is he saying. That's what you need to do. So the first step for you or for anyone is to find out at least you are a Sotapanna. If you're Sakadagami, let's say, it's immediate. You just read this, done. You'll understand. You don't require any some explanation is required. I'm not saying there's no explanation required at all. You will require some commentary or some because if you don't know Sanskrit, at least to that extent, somebody should explain each word by word of that. But that's it. Then you don't require anything else. So if you are an Anagami, even more great. So depending upon where you are, you will be able to understand Mulamadhyamakarika. This is for people who are Buddhist, who were monks, but they got into the Sarva Astivada. So first you should know whether you are a Buddhist.
In that time, it was relevant because all of their mindset was there.
Yes.
We are changed. We are not even Sarvastivada. We don't even know that name. It is gone, right? That branch of Buddhism. So
no, that branch of Buddhism has got modified, but it is there. Sarva Astivada, not Sarvastivada, Sarasvatavada. No, Sarva Astivada is also called as Sarvastivada. They say it in a very fast way, so it becomes very jumbled up. Otherwise,
so whenever some great person comes on this earth, whatever he tells is to reverse the common norms of people in those times.
Exactly. So Sarva Astivada had,
and then it becomes meaningless after some time. It becomes just a theory. It's just a theory.
Yes. Now what has happened on the Mulamadhyamakarika is used only for doing PhD. If you want to do PhD in Buddhism, they basically give you this.
In fact, I was telling him that like because of Buddha, people were too much into Buddhism, so he came back as a Sankaracharya. It's one theory.
Correct.
But to reverse it. So all the time big people comes here to question his own teaching.
Correct. So now the thing, Nitin, is that we need to know where we are, basically. And when you know where you are, it becomes very easy. Like for me, the Yogakara of Vasubandhu. That's also a beautiful thing. Okay, then Atisha is there. He has written a very nice commentary. Then Asanga is there. In fact, you will not find a very scientific teacher than Asanga. Okay, so then you are coming into not Mahayana. You are slowly moving into the Vajrayana.
But I will say practice is must.
No otherwise, what is going to happen is we are going to collect lot of garbage.
At that time, people were different. There was no mobile, there was no computer, there was no internet. Remember that. If they would have been knowing that there is something is called internet, there is something called so many brilliant people. They were not so much brilliant at that time. and there was no internet, there was no mobile, there was no such diversity at that time. They would have only said practice.
Yes. So it doesn't matter. See, I don't know. I can talk all about what Nagarjuna has done, but I don't know how much relevant it is going to give you. We can take this as an separate thing on Nagarjuna.
In fact, the more you know, the more it will be painful for you.
Yeah, that's what I feel, because the more you know, it will lead into confusion, because unless you have experienced it, it's going to lead into confusion.
There is no bigger pain than knowledge. Just remember that. It is the ultimate pain. The final pain, when you the only pain which cannot be removed, the biggest pain is knowledge.
Yeah. So what I suggest is that you let me know what exactly you want on that, especially Gati. You can cover it up. I have no problem. Anybody asking me anything, I can help. But I prefer that we need to experience it. That's what I feel. Meaning you need to at least be Sotapanna. So do you know, are you Sotapanna?
So I know that I am not a Sotapanna.
Then you drop this Mulamadhyamakarika. In your own benefit, drop it for now. Keep it to the side. Yeah, it's a very nice one.
Yeah, that's why rightly I put that example, arrow.
Okay. See, the thing is like this. It's a very nice literature or a philosophy of Nagarjuna. It removes the Sarva Astavada which is there in anybody's mind and brings him into the conditioned way of seeing things. Right? And when Shankaracharya looked into it, what he did ultimately arrived at a conclusion after Nagarjuna is that it is a Shunyatavada. So then Buddha teaching became a Shunyatavada. So across India, it was called as Shunyatavada, and ultimately it went out of India itself. So one of the reasons why Buddhism got eroded off out of what happened is that there were so many theories which came up, and Shankaracharya was able to beautifully put it that Shunyamidam Sarvam is not the right approach, because it becomes one-sided, right? So now what happens? It is Samuchi Satya and Paramarthika Satya, or Paramatta Satya, or Samuhika Satya and Paramarthika Satya. Now, if you just take the Paramarthika Satya, it becomes Shunya. Everything is gone. That other link is gone. And with the other link going away, you can't function, basically. So then it got eroded. So Nagarjuna's way of looking was perfect. So after Nagarjuna, Asanga, Vasubandhu, Atisha, all those people created a very nice environment. But after Bhaktiar Khilji came into India and he destroyed the Nalanda University, then Takshashila University, then in Gandhara, he destroyed the whole thing. There was no direct documentary evidence of what it was. So now, if you want something, either you have to go to China, because Yun Sang or Fai Yan and these two people had taken it to China. So you have everything in the Chinese agamas. Okay, that's one source. Another one is the entire Tibetan. Okay. So, Nitin, for you and me, what we can do is that we are doing this through the Maharahulavada Sutta. The advantage of that is that in this 49 days, what we have taken, you will at least come to know what is required to become a Sotapanna, or what is required to become a Sakadagami, Anagami, and you can know for yourself where you have reached. So let's first conclude that. And knowing very well that you're a Sotapanna, I'm telling you, if you read Mulamadhyamakarika, it will be a cakewalk. You will not have any single confusion on Mulamadhyamakarika. I can tell you. Because you would have understood the Patisamutpada, the first section is on Patisamutpada. Done. Second section is on Gati. You exactly know what is he talking because it is related to the Patisamutpada. Right? So then you keep on removing one sutra after the sutra after the sutra, Sat Sutra, when the thread becomes straight. Then there's no more twisting and turning. So basically, what happens then? You know how to guard the senses because then you are getting into the Sakadagami level. Okay, third. And the fourth one, Panchaskanda, you would have already know the because Sotapanna you have reached. So Sakkaya Ditti is not there. So the Sila Bitta Paramasa, then the Sakkaya Ditti and the Saddha, which is, the Visikicha, the doubt is not there. See, one of the major hindrance is doubt. When I open up the Nagarjuna book, I have a doubt whether all that will be there. And you don't have doubt. If you read it, you will get it, you will master it. Okay, these three fetters are gone. And dhatu. So at a Sakadagami level, at a Anugami Sakadagami level, you are in dhatu. You're able to penetrate into the dhatu. If you are penetrating into the dhatu, then the kamatmaka, what he talks about, desirous and undesirous things, is completely understood. That creates understanding on the samskara. Then atma, action, that is karma. Then chatur arya satya, or chatur satya. Then the dukkha, like that, will end up last one on the views. The 62 views of Brahmajala Sutta, completely understood by you. So if you meet anyone, you can cut that person off because he will be talking of either one of the view of the 62 views. And that's the reason Nagarjuna was unbeatable. He could not be won over. During the lifetime of Nagarjuna, nobody was able to win over him. No sectarian was able to win over him because he could straight away put him in whichever he's talking about. So he had mastered the Brahmajala Sutta of Buddha. For that, the minimum qualification, like we say, right? So the minimum qualification to enter into this course is PhD. In this case, the minimum qualification to enter into this course is Sotapanna. Prove me you're a Sotapanna, we both will start. Or prove to yourself you're a Sotapanna, then we'll start. I have no problems. We'll go through all the 27 chapters. But I appreciate that you want to know about Nagarjuna.
Thank you, sir.
Then we can talk about Atisha, then Vasubandhu, like that. Beautiful one, especially Yogakara system of Vasubandhu is beautiful, par excellence. But that doesn't turn you to a Mahayana or any other yana. It will give you a very nice foundation, meaning if you are looking to become or reach Anagami state, so very nice fodder. What I can say, you'll get a lot of cement, right? Nice cement. The things which are really not possible to be experienced in Sutta way, because you require somebody to teach you. Now that condense here, there is there in all of these people. So you take that much and put it on the Sutta, and then wow, I got it. It clicked. That's it. So after Anagami, your journey starts. It's on your own. Now no help, nothing, no Nagarjuna, no Atisha, no Vasubandhu, no Buddha, no this, no that. Wait all about, because now you have learned. Now you have learned what to do. So now you are a senior apprentice. Now you have to cross. And hence still learning. Now Asik, Arhat. So the minimum qualification to start Mulamadhyamakarika is Swatapi. And you said you are not, so we are not doing it. But it's a very interesting book, an interesting topic. Very interesting. Okay, what else to discuss? Otherwise, can end. Yes, Navi, sorry, Sachin, you have something.
No, it's not related to this topic, so people can leave and just quick question related to. Actually,
they
I
can
am
stay.
not. Huh?
They can stay. I have no problem.
Yeah, actually, I'm not getting time, so quickly I'm asking. Otherwise,
Sure.
I will ask you after studying because of this videos now. I take time, so I'm not. When we make a video, I revisit it.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, I'll quickly ask about that day's discussion. See, you said there are just last discussion. You said there are 6 crystal concept, right? I'm talking about that. So it's okay, na? I can ask.
Yes, what concept?
uh, Ninth day we were discussing, na, the previous day. There is the Hadaya vattu.
Hadaya vattu. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so some quick question about that. Still, I have not gone through it again, so I might ask at that time. But quick question: that the concept of crystal is for Hadaya vattu only, right? But
Yes.
there are 6 vattu, 5 plus Hadaya vattu.
Correct.
So, is the concept of crystal is only for Hadaya vattu, or the citta is only related to Hadaya vattu? This is the question.
Okay, now if you have understood correctly on viññanā, there are 6 viññanas. That means there are 6 chittas.
6 citta. Okay, that I wanted to answer.
There are 6, no? If viññanā are 6, chitta should be 6 also.
6 citta in me in a moment.
No, it's not like that. It's like this. If you are focusing on one thing, let's say I'm focusing on this. Chakkuncha paticcha rupecha upajjati chakku viññanam. Till that ends, the sota viññana will not happen. If you really observe, you will not be hearing when you are seeing.
Yeah. One by one.
One by one.
Each in 1 nanosecond, or probably.
Whatever it is, you forget about this measurement criteria. But what we need to know, when you are involved, that's the reason when somebody is involved in a TV show, he can't understand what is happening in his home because he's so engrossed. Now the question comes, where is he engrossed? He is engrossed on a virtual machine, which is the mano. So that's the reason Buddha said, mano pubbangama dhamma mano setta manomaya. Even though the eye, the chakkuncha paticcha rupecha uppajjati chakku viññanam has happened, but the experience is happening in the mind.
Okay, so let's say there are 6 crystal balls. Okay.
Yes.
Assume.
Yes, got it. Go ahead.
In this moment, it is chakkunja paticca upajjati chakku viññana in the crystal ball of 6. Then it becomes mano. Then it becomes manendriyam.
Whatever way you want to put it, that same crystal ball seems to be a chakku at one, seems to be a sota at another time, seems to be a ghan at another time.
Okay, so can I say the Hadaya vattu at a moment seems to be a chakku vattu?
Yes.
Okay.
But it has 6 in that, it has 6 petals. Actually, when you meditate, you can see it. There are 6 petals.
Okay, that's what Hindu are saying, na, that Kamal,
yes. And you will see it for yourself. It's not that you will imagine it. You can see it yourself. That there are 6 petals just opens up like this. So the light falls on that. And that light is one which the yogi calls it as Paramatma or Brahman or whatever, because that light is falling on this. And whatever appears here is appearing here. And that's the reason it is called Bimba Pratibimba. Bimba means the light or the source. Pratibimba is a reflection. It reflects. So the aspect of what vattu itself is that, a placeholder. Okay, now you might ask a question, then doesn't it there in the Hindu Dharma? It is there. It's there. But the Sasattavada is that this consciousness is
permanent.
This is permanent. This goes away.
Paramatma.
Paramatma stays. Atma keeps on changing. That is gone, but it comes back. So now when it comes back, it comes up with another one. So this knows what you wear. So the Hindu yogis of the past were able to see their past lives, were able to go to the jhanas, they were able to do 8 jhanas. Not only Buddha was able to do the 8 jhanas, all of them have done 8 jhanas. In fact, Alara Kalama and Udakaramaputra taught him the 7th and 8th jhana. So it's not that only Buddha found something out there.
I heard that Uddalak Rishi is Udakaramaputra.
Pardon, please?
Rishi Uddalak.
I didn't
Rishi Uddalak.
Rishi Uddala, yes, he is the.
It is Udakaramaputra, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right. So now he knows. Now what he knows? He knows that this is the light and that light is falling on this. And when it falls on Chakku Ayatana, Sota Ayatana, Ghana Ayatana, Jiva Ayatana, then Kaya Ayatana and Mano Ayatana. So now this comes to life. So when object is come on the screen where? Chakku, Paticca, Rupe, Cha, Uppajjati. Now it arises. This viññanā.
Okay. So what is in the palm?
5 plus 1, right?
What? One, Manu. This is
the
what?
Hadaya vattu.
Okay. So this touches this?
Yes, everything touches that only. So it's like a light.
Okay. So this puppet kind of thing, huh?
Yes, that is what it is. So if you start seeing as a puppet, you will come from viññanā khanda to viññanā to mana ayatana, then mano mana indriya, then pandaram, then hadayam.
Wait. So chakkun cha paticca uppajjati, like this, chakku viññana, and here it's mano ayatana, mano viññana, and then mano indriya, which says I am. Right? And
No, it comes to hadayam. So now what happens is in a very quick succession, citta, pure awareness, just the light, like this, just the light, no movement here. Whatever is here is here.
Okay.
So when you take a crystal ball, what we are giving as an example, or a mirror, when you run, the objects are coming along with that. It's not your object, just an object's coming. If you are aware of that much, just aware.
Are you recording this?
What's that?
Are you recording this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead.
If you just become aware of that, just awareness, pure awareness, that gives you mindfulness, sati, sampajanya. You are aware of everything what is happening. Now you want to play around, right? So now it's a drama. So now I need to say he is Nitin, or he is Shreyas, he is Anna, or her name is Anusha. So now Anna, now Sachin, Vishal, table, this chair, this camera, this, that, all that has to come. Then what I do is I do a recognition of that. Just a recognition. There's nothing else there. Just a recognition. So it turns itself into mano. Mano pubbangama dhamma, mano setta manomaya. This is the mano what we are talking about. That means everything, what we call as thing, object, phenomena, emotions, thought, this, that, experience, everything taken together, whatever you want to build, that is in mano. This is a recognition. Then you require identification. You need to identify, this is this, this is this, this is this, this is this, so that you can represent it, represent it. You present it in this way and present it in another way also. That means I can present myself as Vilas, I can present myself as a teacher, I can present myself as a husband, I can present myself as a son, I can present myself as a father, I can present myself as a friend, I can present myself as an enemy, I can present myself as an Indian, I can present myself as a human, like that. This representation is required. This is what is called a samuchi satcha. So till here, arhat also will be like this.
Okay, so this citta and 9 stages of citta are happening in Hadaya vattu only, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So there is, I mean, we can say 6 citta, but actually it is entity wise, it is one only.
No, no, no. You please read Mahatanhakkaya Sutta, where Buddha blasted person saying that where on earth have I taught you that there is only one consciousness? There are 6 consciousness.
6 viññanā, but citta is one.
Sorry, you have to go and fight with the Buddha, not with me. And he's
So when you said this Paramatma or whatever the light, can I call that as a citta? No.
don't do anything of that. It will get muddled up. No, sorry.
Okay, then name it higher citta or some other name I have to give, right?
That is what the Vedanta is all about. They called it a Satchitananda.
Satchitananda. Okay, some placeholder I need for that.
That is the problem. The moment you put a placeholder, the viññanā catches that and makes that into a reality.
Okay, now it becomes part of my mind. It becomes an object of the mind rather than purity.
Yes. So that's the reason we need to be careful in what we are trying to say. So there are 6 viññanā. Don't worry about the citta. There are 6 viññanā. Till we get that defilements removed, consider it as viññanā. You know it goes into 9 stages. Why? Because you need to know what is viññanā. That's all. Because you will experience as an experiencer, both within the same domain.
Yes.
So you can't say, experience is one thing, experiencer is another thing. No.
Okay, yes. I agree. Because the domains are different. The experiencer cannot be one.
Now when you are experiencing through eye, you will not experience through ear.
Yeah, that's what you mean to say, right? That put the food in your eye.
Yes. Try it. It will not happen. These are the experiments you need to do.
Mulamadhyamaka Sutta also it is said that their domain and another things are different.
Yes. So anyway, coming back to this subject is that what I need to understand. I need to understand there is a crystal ball. Perfect. What did it do with the crystal ball? Run. And you see all objects are coming on the crystal ball.
Yeah, practical question. Okay. In my meditation, I'm familiar with crystal ball, similar concept. But whenever, instead of creating another concept that something is in my hand or imagining something in my heart, even though it is in my heart, but instead of making it as another concept, as you said, now you will make a mental object now. Instead of that, when I see, like every other non-dual teachers are teaching, right? This whole universe is a concept.
Right?
Because the whole universe is reflected in me. Why should I create another crystal ball? The whole crystal ball is here.
Don't do it. But what you need to know is that it's a Hadaya vattu. Whether you call the whole universe within that.
Yes. That is more practical, right? The whole universe is my Hadaya vattu.
Yeah. So you see, there is another sutta where what you're saying is covered. There is a bhikkhu who comes and asks, tell me what's a world? Loka. Loka idam uchyati kincha loka. What is loka? And he says, lujjati iti loka. Lujjati palujjati. That means integrate, disintegrate. So he asks, kena lujjati kincha palujjati. What integrates and what disintegrates? Chakku lujjati palujjati. Sota lujjati palujjati. Ghana lujjati palujjati. Jivha lujjati palujjati. Like that. What it means? It means that it integrates and disintegrates. Now, where does it integration disintegration? On this crystal
Yeah.
ball, as the image is changed, the chakku will go away. As the image is changed, the ghana will go away, the jiva will go away, the kaya will go away, the mano will go away, the kota will go away, all will go away and come back when that appears. So
Yeah, that's what Chakku Anicca means, no?
Yes.
Because when I say Chakku Anicca means my Chakku is at least going to be there for 100 years.
No. It's not like that. So what he says is two dimension. So the first thing we need to experience is anatta, not anicca. Anicca is very difficult to master. First we have to understand anatta. So if you see, Buddha spoke about the what is that? After his enlightenment or awakening, what did he say? He started Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta. That is the first one he started. Then the explanation he gave it where? In the Satya Vibhanga Sutta. No, sorry. In this Sutta. Anatta Lakkhana Sutta.
Anatta, second discourse.
That's the second discourse. In the same place, Isipatana. Now, if you go through that Sutta, he starts with Anatta. We have covered this, but I am again telling you, he starts with Anatta.
Oh, I understood.
He never starts with Anicca. And in the same Sutta, he covers Anicca.
Yeah, but in many of the Sutta, he says, he starts with Anicca and Anicchati iti Dukkham. Dukkha is Anatta. That sequence is maintained.
That he does it because they have understood.
Okay. So understanding starts from Anatta, but sorry.
See, in 99% of the suttas, you see, it starts with anicca, yad aniccham, tad dukkam, tad anatta. Right. Now that is okay. Fair. But the problem here is that it will create one problem. That it will not show you what is anicca in real sense.
I agree because that's what in Vipassana practice people are doing. Anicca.
They will not get.
And I think it's a madness.
Yes, it's madness.
Because they are permanent.
You keep on saying. So you keep on saying anicca, it's not going to work. Just
Preserving.
Once.
Okay.
I have gone. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was telling Vilas that they are preserving their atta and telling everything is anicca.
Correct. Absolutely. So we need to see through anatta, anicca. But once you see anicca, you don't have to now see anatta. Now you can say that yad aniccham tad dukkham, yad dukkham tad anatta.
Yeah, because his subject in the experience, if he says that is anicca, then it makes sense.
Yes. So he starts with anatta lakkhana, not anicca lakkhana sutta.
Okay.
What we do as a mistake is we start looking at anicca. It is not going to happen because we have nicca sanya. How can you create an anicca sanya? So first you have to create no I-ness. That is anatta.
Yeah, even though logically it is correct, anicca, dukkha, anatta, but practically
Practically is anatta.
anatta, dukkha, anicca.
Correct. Okay, now I need to head up, head down. Somebody wants to come and meet. So let me do that. Thank you very much, Sachin, for that crystal clarity question, and also to Nitin for that Nagarjuna. I really love it. Nagarjuna, great. But only thing is we need to understand from a proper perspective. Okay. Very good evening, and Anna, very good night to you. I know it's very
Yes.
late in the night to you.
Yes, Theruvan Saranai
Yeah,
everyone.
Theravada, and thanks for joining. I really appreciate you.